You've been a busy man the last few years. You've been traveling, speaking in front of universities, doing interviews, because I think you feel that we don't have that much time left, maybe 10, 15, 20 years. Can you talk about what you mean by that?
Certain things happening. One thing is, there are more people on the planet today thinking for themselves than ever before. Otherwise, a religious book was thinking for them, a priest or a pandit or a mullah was thinking for them, or there was one wise man who was thinking for them. Now, for the first time, a huge, massive number of people are thinking for themselves. Well, you can debate always whether they're thinking right or wrong, all that thing, but at least they're thinking. When I say thinking, what happens to thought process is, see, if two people get into an argument, both the people think the other person is illogical. That means in their mind, there is a certain logical pattern. However illogical somebody may seem to you, in his mind he has his own logical pattern. Once this pattern sets up that there needs to be some logic for you to come to a conclusion of about anything, then many fanciful things that you believe, like your journey to heaven and what is up there and all these things, they start collapsing. Heavens have collapsed in people's minds. Still they don't dare to say that because there is still fear. But in their minds, the aspiration of going to heaven is largely collapsed. So when heavens collapse, what will human beings do? They will try to find it here, which is a very good thing. But if you don't show them any way to find a heaven within themselves, that is when at least 80 to 85% of the population today is on alcohol or some kind of drug happening simply because they are trying to build their own little heaven. Because the other heaven that was promised for a long time has collapsed in their minds. We have come to a place where to grow our food, we need chemicals. To be healthful, we need chemicals. Today, 70% of the population is on prescription medication of some sort. To be peaceful, we need chemicals. To be joyful, we need chemicals. To be ecstatic, of course, you have ecstasy. So we are going towards chemicals in a huge way. The water that you drink is full of chemicals, the air that you breathe is like that, and the food that you eat is like that. So if 90% of humanity goes into chemical consumption, consciously or unconsciously, if they consume a lot of it, the next generation that we produce will be of a lesser quality than who we are. That's a crime against humanity.
Has that happened before in history?
No, generally always the next generation is better than the previous generation. But today we are coming to a place where we could be producing a next generation which is less than us. Once that happens, we have done something very negative against the fundamental life process.
No.
So intoxication is just that. It is taking away your faculties for a period of time, but if you continuously do it, it'll take it away for your life. So you're taking away or subjugating your faculties for a little bit of pleasure, or maybe a lot of pleasure, however you wish to describe it. But the important thing is you're taking a backward step with life, because life can only be enhanced by sharpening and increasing our faculties, not by decreasing our faculties. Our ability to be active physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, if this is in any way crippled, this means we are taking a backward step, though there may be pleasure attached to it. So I'm teaching them a way. If you sit here with your eyes closed every day, I'm very proud of this now, there are millions of people, in the morning if they sit with their eyes closed for a few minutes, tears of ecstasy will flow, millions of people across the world.
That you've taught?
Yes, this is what needs to happen, because you need to understand the greatest chemical factory, the most sophisticated chemical factory is right here. The question is only, are you a great CEO or a lousy CEO? If you are a great manager, you will produce what you want from this. If you are a lousy manager, you do wrong things, you get anxiety, you get something else, you get rubbish going on within you because you are misusing your chemical factory or you don't know how to manage your chemical factory.
You did have a background though. Does that help you sometimes navigate things?
What
or give you an extra edge or understanding business as opposed to never having experience?
See, this question comes from the presumption that everything has to come from your experience. That means you're going to be very small. In this world, how many things can you personally experience? Very small. Even if it's wide-ranging experience, still it's very small. So essentially, this whole attitude and questioning and this kind of thing has happened to the world in a big way because our education is confusing people to make them believe that memory is intelligence. Memory is not intelligence. Memory is useful as data, but intelligence is a different dimension. We have gobbled this up, that we have made children believe from a very early age, if you remember something, you're smart. No, no. A tape recorder can remember everything. This camera can remember everything. This doesn't mean it's intelligent. So, one major aspect of my work is to separate these two. Within your experience, your memory and your intelligence are two different things. If you have an intelligence which is unsullied by memory, you will see everything just the way it is. But if you look at everything through the filters of your memory, everything is prejudiced. When we say intelligence, now this little plant which produces a fragrant flower, you're discounting that intelligence. There is more intelligence in the air around you than in your brains. There's more memory in the epithelial cell of your body than in your brain.
I wasn't born to be trapped by my intellect because it's a tough question for me. It's like what you're saying is you're trapped by intellect, and I agree with you because a large part of our questions to ourselves is just, circles within the mind. The mind asks, the mind answers, the mind doubts, the mind asks, the mind answers. I wasn't born like that. And what you're saying, are you saying that is not the natural way to be? And if it's not the natural way to be, why did I become like that?
Because there is no such thing as human nature. Being a human being means it's a flux. For all other creatures on this planet, nature has drawn two lines. Within that band, they must live. For a human being, only one line, the bottom line, there is no top line. So there's no description of what is a proper human being. There's no definition like that. Everybody thinks everybody else is wrong, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because there is no definition that this is what a good human being is. People are always trying to arrive at it. But when you impose the definition, all you will get is rebellion from many places. Every generation tries to arrive at what is a good human being, and the next generation comes and says, that's rubbish, that's not the way we want to be, and they want to be some other way, just to beat this, the trap of that, and they create a new trap. A new trap looks like freedom because it's a new place. After some time, you know the pain of that, and then you want to create a new one. I'm talking about employing your intelligence without the limitation of your intellect. The human existence is a phenomenal intelligence. See, right now you're here, you can't do it with your thought. You can't conduct your breath with your thought, you can't beat your heart with your thought, you can't make your kidneys and liver work with your thought, can you?
No.
They're way beyond your thinking process, isn't it? So I'm saying your thought is useful only for certain aspects of life. The thing is, you're taking it beyond its ambit and making it look stupid. It is not stupid, it's a wonderful process. The significance of being human, one of the significances of being human is we're capable of thought and conscious thought. It's wonderful. You're trying to use your intellect beyond its ambit, that's all. So, you will end up coming to conclusions. Rather than perceiving, you are arriving at conclusions and thinking that is true. Whatever conclusions you make have nothing to do with reality. You are making conclusions with the limited data of information that you have gathered. It doesn't matter if you've eaten the libraries of the planet. Still, what you have with you compared to what the existence is, what the creation is, it is just a minuscule of knowledge. With this knowledge, you don't try to make a conclusion. It's bound to be wrong. Maybe you earned a PhD in a university, but you cannot know truth like that. You cannot know the nature of existence like that. So the best way is to open a window and simply look. You see at least one dimension of life, the way it is, not the way you think it is. Because the way you think is essentially dependent upon the limited data that you have gathered in your brain.